Today, we're taking a deep dive into, well, the fascinating, often subtle world of advertising. It's everywhere, right? We've looked at a whole stack of personal reflections, people talking about ads that genuinely influence them, plus their broader thoughts on advertising's impact.
Yeah, and our mission today is really to understand how advertising actually works, what makes it stick, what makes it effective, and, what are the bigger implications for society? We want to see what makes an ad truly resonate with someone.
Okay, so to kick us off, let's get concrete. We've got a great example here, an ad that really persuaded someone to buy something. We're talking about a campaign for Bose noise-canceling headphones.
Ah, yes. And what's fascinating about this one is the detail. The person really broke down why it worked for them. It gives us a real peek behind the curtain of consumer psychology.
So the ad itself, they saw it on YouTube, described as short but, really powerful. It showed people in noisy places, subways, airplanes, that kind of thing, and then bam, they put on the headphones. And you just see this instant peace, this focus wash over them.
And its effectiveness, it really came down to simplicity, didn't it? High quality visual, sure, but crucially, that contrast in sound design, it dramatically showed off the noise blocking. You didn't just hear about it, you sort of experienced the quiet.
Right, you felt the difference. And the tagline they mentioned, silence the world, focus on what matters. That really landed, especially for this person who said they struggled with concentration and noise.
Exactly. So it wasn't just buy these cool headphones, it was offering a solution. It hit on both an emotional level, that desire for peace, and a really practical need, focus. It shows how a well-crafted message connects, deeply, and it led to a purchase, even months later. That's staying power.
That Bose example is such a perfect illustration, isn't it? The power of one really resonant message. But okay, let's zoom out. What about the whole advertising landscape today? How's it changing? What are we seeing most often?
Well, digital is king, no question, especially social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, those are huge. And influencer marketing, that's not niche anymore. It's completely mainstream now. Micro-influencers, too. Sometimes they have more pull.
Right, the authenticity factor. And what about what people actually maybe prefer to see? If they have to see ads, what kind do they lean towards?
Generally, people seem to prefer video ads, short ones, creative ones, like you see on YouTube pre-roll or Instagram stories. If they look good and get straight to the point or are maybe a bit entertaining, they're more likely to be remembered or at least tolerated. Speed is key.
Okay, so this brings up a big question. Does advertising really influence what we buy? It feels like it must, but how deep does that actually go? Sometimes you don't even feel like you're being influenced.
Oh, absolutely it does. Even if we don't consciously clock it, it shapes our preferences. It creates a sense of need, sometimes subtly. Think about just seeing a brand repeatedly, the mere exposure effect, or how they frame things. A really well-done ad can definitely take an average product and make it feel like a must-have. It works on biases we all have.
So if it's that powerful, what do advertisers need to really think about when they're creating these messages? What are the key things?
Well, beyond the obvious, like knowing your target audience inside out, cultural sensitivity is huge. You can't afford missteps there. Yeah. But really, it's about making it memorable, emotionally engaging. And as we touched on, authenticity. People are so quick to spot something that feels fake or, forced. Trust is fragile.
Given all that influence, that power, is advertising actually necessary in society? It feels so pervasive.
That's a fair question. But yes, I'd argue it plays a crucial role. Think about the economy. It helps businesses grow, creates jobs, and it does inform consumers about new things, new services. It fuels competition, which can be good for us.
Okay, but here's where it gets tricky, right? With that power comes responsibility. There need to be ethical lines, surely, to prevent manipulation or misleading stuff.
Absolutely. That's the critical part. It is beneficial economically, informationally. But there must be ethical guidelines. Transparency, honesty, these aren't optional if the system is to work without exploiting people.
Makes sense. Now, speaking of potentially vulnerable groups, what about kids? Advertising in children, how susceptible are they?
Children are definitely particularly impressionable. Their filters just aren't fully developed yet. Ads can strongly influence what they want, toys, food, clothes, you name it. They often take messages much more literally. That's precisely why advertising aimed at children is and should be pretty heavily regulated in many places. There's a recognition of that vulnerability.
Are there specific kinds of ads that are generally seen as potentially harmful for kids?
Yes, definitely. Ads promoting, say, unhealthy foods are a big concern. They can really impact eating habits, contribute to health issues down the line. Also, ads pushing unrealistic body standards. That can be incredibly damaging to a child's self-esteem, their body image. These things aren't trivial. They can shape habits, self-worth, behavior long term. It really highlights why parental guidance and strong regulations are so important.
Wow. So we've gone from that one specific headphone ad and how it worked on a psychological level,
Huh.
all the way to these big societal questions about advertising's role,
Yeah.
its ethics, and its impact on kids.
Exactly. And the insights really highlight this tension, don't they, between the art and scientific persuasion and the ethical guardrails that are needed.